the Advisory Board for Davenport Park and Recreation in order. And we will begin today with roll call.
Coiner.
Here.
Kefauver.
Here.
McBride. Absent. Meyer.
Here.
Ortiz.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Schertz.
Here.
Spratt here. Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We may conduct our business this time, which is wonderful. We will begin with approval of the minutes, and in your packet you had the May 4th minutes. We've had to delay those because of our ability to do business. So I'll take a minute and take a look at those minutes. I would entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
I make a motion, we approve it.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that the May 4th minutes be approved as presented. Those signify yes for approval.
Yes.
Yes. Nay? No? They're approved. June's minutes are also in your packet, and that meeting minutes was for June 17th. Again, take a moment to review if you haven't already done so.
I move we accept the June minutes.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve those minutes as written. Signify yes for approval.
Yes.
Yes.
I believe I heard from everyone, so we'll move on. Those have been presented and accepted. We do have Kathy Wine from River Action present, and she is coming to comment. And so thank you, Kathy, for coming.
Are you comfortable if I take off my mask?
Yes,
for now?
that's good.
Yes, thank you. I'm Kathy Wine with River Action, and I brought with me Jean Downey, our artist, for the Sunday in the Park project at Credit Island. We've had quite a summer, in fact, the last year and a half, when we were reinstalling the figures. They've had over the years, no floodwaters touch them, but once in a while weather does cause problems, so we restore them and refurbish them and get them back out. This year, well, actually starting last fall, but this year in particular, we've had a lot of vandalism, and I just want to say we need a more secure area for these beautiful statues. I brought Jean with me today to explain a little bit what some of that vandalism was. Some of it was vicious, some of it was more of a prank, but nevertheless, it was costly. We've spent almost $2,000 just this year getting those repaired, back on the pedestals or the platforms, putting down the sod that was needed, getting some grass seeds, some fertilizer down there, attending to it, and attending to it all the time because we were moving the sprinkler and so on. I appreciate the hose and the hookup that you gave us. We did replace the sprinkler 3 times because that was stolen. But I'm just here to say that we feel that it must be some ways to secure this with either more security from police or cameras, which I would strongly recommend or hope could be there so that vandals could be identified and restitution made and all of that. Because to have public art, beautiful public art, which I feel this is important in good times, but in more desperate times, we need it desperately. And this art project, I think, would be that type of improvement that we can make in our city parks. I will also say that one of the secure things that I look at there is the dying oak tree right next to it, and hopefully that could be trimmed up or made more secure so that limbs aren't going to fall on the statues and ruin them in that way. It is one of the most used parks in the city, and we can attest to that because we've been there so much this year. You have lots and lots of people at Credit Island. If it's not the most used park, I would be surprised. But for this kind of public amenity, I think we need to make it more secure. So I'm going to ask Jean to talk a little bit about the vandalism so you understand. We won't go on, we'll try to be concise about it, but see the kinds of things that we've been repairing over the summer. Jean?
Okay, for the past 8 years, I have been maintaining these sculptures. And I want to thank the city for letting us put them in the lodge because I've had to repair them outdoors. So being in the lodge has been a great help to me. There has been many cracks in the fiberglass. Some has been from weather related for the past, well, since last fall, most of it has been vandalism to the fiberglass, which created cracks in it, which had to be glued and filled and glued. Since last fall, I have repaired the arm on the man with the cane, and I have replaced the cane with aluminum this time, and hopefully it won't get broken. And there's one statue that has a book, and the book's been gone for a long time, so I made a book in aluminum, and I haven't put that out yet because I'm afraid that's going to be the first thing that gets stolen again. And so, unless I can feel like I've got it really secure, then I don't want to put that one out. Last fall, one head was completely taken off, and I searched for it on Credit Island. I could not find it, so I had to rebuild a new one, which took about 3 months going to and from the lodge to do that. Also, bouquet of flowers, replaced that. Repaired a little girl on her base because this was a prank, I guess. Taken off the base and put into the restroom across the way, and a city worker found her, luckily, so I didn't have to remake a whole girl. A fishing pole has been taken twice, and 2 sprinklers and a hose. And recently, the horn on one of the statues is completely gone. And so I'm in the process of having another one of those made. And also had to fix the face where they had torn off some of the fiberglass. So it's kept me really busy. I do this voluntarily. I've enjoyed, I feel like these are my babies, and I would just like to see them somewhere where we can keep them safe. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Has everybody been there to know about the statues, the sculpture? Go ahead. Comment? Jerry?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Has Rick Dunn been aware of this?
Rick Dunn?
He's our alderman for that area.
Yes.
What was the conversation, do you know?
She would have
Well, not a complete satisfactory one. I've left messages.
Okay, I'm involved a lot with that Credit Island with Rick Dunn, and I'll get with him and find out exactly what we can do to make that, because I've seen those. I didn't realize they were being vandalized, though.
They're right across from a play area, and people congregate there, weekends, have parties and this kind of thing, so it makes them pretty vulnerable.
Obviously, this is happening in the middle of the night, I suppose.
Well,
Could be during the weekend on a
You
Saturday
really
or
don't have any
Sunday.
idea at
Yeah,
all?
Saturday or Sunday.
Weekends?
We don't know.
not always on weekends.
The one thing we can't do, and we don't really want to do, is to start closing parks because of the fact that there's vandalism. We need to find out what the issues are and fix that first, so we don't have to close the parks.
Yeah.
Closing the parks with a sign or whatever is like a business sitting there with well, we're closed today.
Yeah.
That's a negative, and we don't need to have that.
We have talked to staff who kind of intimated that you are talking about cameras, and it seems to be a really important place to put one or two. Is that true? Are you considering that?
I know that cameras are a potential but very expensive option, but I like the idea that we do have Mr. Coiner on our committee, and it is true, he's very much connected with Credit Island, and so I'm going to give him the assignment of following through with that and maybe.
I will, I'll get with
report
Rick Dunn,
back
is what I'll
on
do.
that. Yeah.
I mean, there's even a possibility, there's a hunter's camera that you can hang up into a tree. I don't know how clear those things are, but those are hidden, or for guys going out and going hunting, or deer, or whatever the case is, and they can put these things out there in the middle of nowhere, and you won't be able to see them up in a tree. And maybe it's a possibility we can do this for a while and find out maybe who these people are. And prosecute them if that's the case. But let me get with Rick Dunn, and if I could have your name so that way I can contact you too as well.
My name.
No, we can do that.
Just on a piece of paper, just give me your name and your phone numbers.
In one of the write-ups with the police, when the one small statue was stolen, and we thought stolen, it was eventually found in the restroom, women's restroom. But he, in writing up that report, said, this is something that needs more surveillance, and we kind of forget about it. It's on the West End. That really makes me
We're
sad.
trying to change that.
And so I want you to say that we brought that to the attention of the police, who recognized the problem and kind of acknowledged that, there needs to be more surveillance.
In maybe giving a summary at this time, we've got a starting point with an active member of the board. The other thing that I think, I assume you're aware of, every year we go through the process of identifying places for our funds to go, and that discussion occurs annually, through the budget process. So, that's something that might be at least a starting point as well. So I'm sad to see it happen because, it is a very lovely tribute. I almost thought you have a labor of love there and you do it
Well,
with
it's
such
been a
grace
challenge,
and
but
expertise.
I have enjoyed it. So.
Yeah. Well, Kathy, I know we'll get back to you, and we'll not let it just drop here. So.
We need to get Credit Island to have more recognition. The more we have in recognition, the better we can do with that park down there. Got a lot of area down there. We could do a lot of things down there. And everybody seems to think that it's just a waste of time because of the fact of the flooding. Well, it doesn't flood all the time. It doesn't flood all year long.
We just finished Floyd Villa there.
Yeah.
We had hundreds of people.
Don't walk
Actually,
away.
1,652.
Yeah.
So-
So thank you very
Before go,
much
we
for what
have
you do.
Two other members of the board that may have a remark that you would like to place. Krista, do you want to, and then Mike.
I do suggest the cameras, deer hunting cameras are a really good idea. They're very clear. However, you have to worry about the lines. They usually come from poles directly to that camera. Or if you're relaying it via Wi-Fi, how we're going to go about that with Credit Island, or where that catch is going to be for that data. So that's the only thing I would suggest to think about.
It seems as though what I do, they undo. And, and like I said, I will fix them, but, well, something needs to be done.
Final comments, Bobby?
Yeah, my question is more for Betsy. The location that the statues are at, do they have to stay in that? Or could they move to a place where the odds of vandalism would go down a little bit more, but yet they would still be able to get the exposure that they're getting now?
Well, I can answer that as far as, because 20 years ago, when we did the public art project with the public, and they painted them, and it was a great time. We chose areas, and this is with the 10 Riverway art projects throughout the whole Quad Cities, that didn't have a lot of programming and didn't have a lot of playground equipment and so on, just because we thought it brings up an awareness of some of the beautiful wild places we have, or the beautiful parks that are more natural, and therefore a good idea to infuse it with some public art. And that was chosen because the island itself has exactly the same history as the Grand Jatte in Paris, where they had Sunday picnics, streetcars came, lots and lots of things with the park itself. And so the setting is absolutely the same. And the artist, which was Ted McElhaney, chose that site. We had the historian from the Putnam Museum give us the background on the history of Credit Island and why it was chosen and why it was perfect spot for it. And we've had that response all along. So if we lift it out and put it somewhere where where the Sunday picnickers wouldn't be picnicking, it doesn't, in context, have any of the same message or connection to the real Sunday in the Park, Le Grand Jatte in Paris, which is what all those 10 figures are. So you can see why that was chosen, and that's still a good idea. But you're right in that if we can't keep it and they have to be repaired all the time and we just can't, then something has to happen. I don't know what, and I don't know where I would even suggest, because it's the perfect spot for Sunday in the Park.
I don't know. I think maybe those could be just about anywhere. If you're going to have vandalism to those type of items, they're going to do it anywhere on that island. Doesn't make any difference where they're at, I don't think. That's my opinion, but I understand
I
what
think maybe
Rob's
you were
saying.
suggesting, another park or another place, were you not? Or
No, if that's where you guys wanted to keep it, I just didn't know if you had to stay there right next to a playground where younger kids that probably don't make the best choices are wasting their time or have extra time to hang around and vandalize them. If there was a different option, maybe 50 feet down, same view, but same area, but a slightly different view, but they would have to walk a little bit farther to get to them, kind of thing. But if right there is perfect, then it's perfect for me.
Kathy, we need to move on, but we do have some groundwork. And I'm glad you're here, because not only have you given us an important connection to why it was placed, I didn't know all that history, but I knew some of it. And we've met the artist, and the person, the labor of love, yes. And we have a committee member who, a board member that will follow up, and we'll move on with that. So after Jerry's report, we'll see what might also transpire.
And, well, we've done quite a lot in putting them down on concrete pads and bolting them down and all of that, but there is a plaque there that you can read all that history and the connection to the 1850s in the Quad Cities. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you could be here this time, and
Thank you.
you'll hear from us.
All right,
Thank
thanks
you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Parks, too. You've been so helpful all summer getting us back. Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is the recommendation updating the municipal code for e-bikes and other devices. And what I want to do is to start an open discussion on the revised or the new proposal and, evolve from that. Yeah. Mike knows all, we have that. And it's the wording that we have an option. What is happening now with our addressing this today is that we would signify to Parks and Rec Director that we would approve or suggest changes, and then it would move forward, to the city of Davenport. Did I do that correctly?
So the Parks Advisory Board, what you are recommending is for Director Dyson to proceed with asking our chief corporation counsel to draft an ordinance that would then go in front of the city council for final approval and voting into the city code. So while your recommendation, obviously holds weight, because one of the first things city council is going to ask is, does the advisory board approve of this? We can say yes. Know that the language in front of you will become legalese. Okay? That's just kind of the way it is. So don't stress too much about the as's and thes and stuff, because there's going to be a lot of whereas's, therefores, et cetera. So that's what we're asking today.
Jerry?
I recommend we go ahead and, because you've got this second reading here, on here with when he revised that law, am I correct? On there?
So the top paragraph is how the current code reads.
And the one on the bottom is the new one.
This is a recommendation. It's a proposed. Again, this has not been vetted through Corporation Council, so the exact language, will look different. It's getting the gist.
I
for not a
recommend
very
that we
fancy word.
move this forward.
There's not a motion at this time.
Oh,
Recommendation, I still struggle with a statement I made at our last board meeting, and that was in regard to the last sentence of the revised form. And that reads, "This provision shall not apply to a person with disabilities, et cetera, trail use." And I've read it, and I believe that it would be best not even to have that last statement, or I had drafted what I thought was a possible last statement for consideration. And so I'd just like to give it to you because we're in discussion at this time. Do you know what you're reading that last statement? Okay. What I have trouble with is when you read the proposal, I believe that any person using our recreation trails shall practice the safety guidelines that are stated, and that's very clear. But then the last statement says the provision shall not apply to a person. Do you see what I'm saying there?
with disabilities.
Yeah, and that doesn't read properly for me. So what I thought about in drafting that final statement is something to this order. This provision shall also apply to a person with disabilities using a device designed for recreational trail use.
That sounds good.
I don't, it's giving authority to a group of people that we shouldn't be going there. So that is my suggestion. Comment? Yeah.
I assume the reason that last statement was put in there was to say essentially electric wheelchairs are not banned or not, part of this, but it does read in a strange way, and maybe this is what council will fix all up, where, where it says, to yield to other pedestrians and whatnot, that doesn't apply to people with disabilities, that doesn't make sense, but I don't think that's what we're going for, so I would assume that the legal department would be able to fix that in a way that works for everybody.
Okay. Jerry?
I agree with what was just said.
Is this something that, I'm glad that you're seeing there's some wording there that is just doesn't perk right for me, and I made that attempt. So
It's got to be good for all people, so when they rewrite that, they need to take that into all in consideration. There's no doubt in my mind that there's some legal things that has to be done there too, am I correct?
Absolutely. The Corporation Council will absolutely make sure that the ADA guidelines are followed when the ordinance is written.
Yeah, okay. That's what I go with, yeah.
other discussion this time. This is, we do need to have action on this. So at this time, we would need to motion approval of the concept, or whatever we want to call it, of the new recommended rewrite. Leah?
I move to amend the e-bike wording to Wendy's recommendations.
Is there a second to that?
I second that.
Okay. Discussion in regard to that.
That will still be legalized through what you're saying is, it's going to be whatever they say is the last word on that
we'll
with
go
you,
forward.
with the consideration of what you're saying.
Yes,
Okay.
so everything would be as is with the suggestion of the persons that I had
Yeah.
suggested.
We just don't want to leave anybody out, that's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Voting on that amendment is in order at this point. So those who would accept that signify with yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Objections? Thank you. Now, we do need to motion again, correct? The acceptance, and you know what I mean? Yeah, so Leah, oh, yeah, Jerry?
I can't get my cut off.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Leah,
having trouble, I'm having trouble.
Okay.
So you currently have voted to approve the modification that Wendy has suggested. Now you need to have a motion and a second, and then a voice vote on actual approving the new concept.
So I move to approve the amended e-bike code wording.
is there a second?
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Did you say second? Okay. Krista? Yes, yes. And we can do, at this point, a vote of joint. We don't have to go separate recall. Is that correct? I want to make sure. Okay. We will? Okay, okay. All right. This will be going to forward with the city council. So we want to make an approved vote at this point. So Leah will roll call and we will go from there. Yes, oh, yes.
I won't drag it out more after last time, but the one thing that's left out here are the motorized skateboards, the wheelies, and those are way more dangerous than us old people on e-bikes. So I think that as this goes through, it should be added, because some of those things will do 35 mile an hour.
Well, they're still banned, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't unban them. Sorry.
Yeah.
Are you looking to just to have it in that law?
Well, yeah,
Michael?
I see more of that than any danger from e-bikes. I don't want to drag this out forever.
Yeah, I think the way it's written currently, this just addresses e-bikes and other vehicles that would be needed for persons with disabilities. Anything that falls outside of those two are still, like Mr. Myers said, are still prohibited.
Okay.
So I do worry a little bit if you start naming things, because those things you name today will be different tomorrow. And that, they will evolve, so.
We've already named e-bikes. I still struggle with why there's been nobody killed, maimed, or injured with e-bikes. So I'll go along with, Chad did a great job writing this, but I still don't understand the need. Somebody said there's a lot more bikes, so now we're scared there's gonna be e-bikes killing people. I don't understand the need for that. But I'll vote for it. It's okay. I won't drag it on forever.
I'll just say real quick, I think the whole point of this ordinance change is to go from what we have currently, which is that your bike is technically illegal on the bike path, to it won't be. So I mean, all it is saying specifically e-bikes will now be allowed on the bike paths. And that's all it does, and I think we all are for that, so I think we should vote.
No, that's not true either. But we'll vote.
Okay, we're ready to vote. Okay.
Coiner,
For you to be comfortable here, Mike, I don't understand what you're trying to go. Let's stop with that for a second. Tell us what.
You can't get to vote now.
Oh, we can't? You got to vote now?
And I hear you.
Oh, okay. I vote yeah. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens.
I'll go with it.
Kefauver,
So I can ride my e-bike.
You're not prohibited.
Yes.
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Ortez,
Yes.
Schurtz,
Yes.
and Spratt, yes. The motion passed.
The motion has passed. We'll move it forward, and this is not the last time we will see this. It will come back, will it not, or?
We can bring it back to you, but at this point, it is out of your hands and moving into third floor and city council.
Mike, I'd like to just clarify what you just approved made your e-bikes legal on the bike path, but those motorized scooters are still not because they are not specifically listed as approved now. So your e-bike is good. Electric wheelchairs are good. The scooters and the skateboards are still not allowed.
I won't keep going.
That makes sense.
I just wonder where all the e-bike language suddenly came from and had to be addressed. And because there's a misconception, there are self-powered ones, but like the ones my wife and I ride are pedal assist. So anyway, let's just go on.
It's a growing entity. Thank you for moving this forward. Under new business, we took care of, we have not taken care of the next item, which is election of officers. And when you received in your packet a listing of members with interest, and we need to proceed with an election. You know that there are members that are interested, but that doesn't necessarily stop at that point. So we need to begin with the chair position, and we would entertain a motion in regard to that, correct? Yeah, discussion, I guess. Discussion first, yes, and then entertain. Jerry? Yes? He's ready to vote, okay.
If there's no discussion or new people, can we elect a slate or do we have to elect each one?
We need to elect each one.
Each one.
Yeah,
Each
we
one,
do.
okay.
We actually have to nominate officially first, and we
yes.
can do that by yay and nay, and then we'll do an official vote to vote them into that position for a year, and that does need to be a roll call official action.
So each one has to be nominated. Okay. I nominate Wendy Peterson for chairman of our organization.
I'll
Second,
second.
please.
I'll second.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, Jerry, Mark, too. Okay,
I second it.
okay, thank you.
It's hard to talk from there instead of there.
I know. Okay.
It doesn't work. Or
Additional
it's me.
discussion? I would just make a comment that it's been an interesting and growing situation, and I've enjoyed it, and that's why I said I'd like to continue. So I appreciate that support. So it is now time to vote, and those approving the nomination of Wendy Peterson for chair signify by yay.
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 Okay. Okay.
Yes?
I think we're good. Thank you. We're that unanimous. I appreciate that. We now have, no, we just did. We only if there is more than one person who is wanting that position or has been
So
nominated.
Wendy, what the board just did was nominate you for that
Okay,
position.
okay. Now
And
we have
so
to vote.
now we'll do an official
Thank
roll
you.
call vote to
I
elect
believe
you
I got the
into that officially.
Okay. Yes. So,
Jerry.
Yes.
Kafaver.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Ortiz.
Yes.
Peterson, or you don't vote, right? Right, no. Sorry. Sure.
Wendy does vote in elections as a board member.
Okay,
I say yes.
okay. Shirts. And Spratt, yes. That was a unanimous.
Great. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
vote.
everyone. The position of vice chair is our next election responsibility. And Mike Schertz has indicated interest in that position. And at this point, we need to have action to
Jerry.
discussion, yes, discussion, yes. Hearing none. Are we ready to nominate? Yes.
I, Jerry Coiner, nominate Mike Schertz for the vice president.
I second that.
Vice chair, yes. Yeah, we do have a roll call vote, yes. Huh?
We have to vote to nominate, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Michael Schertz has been nominated for the position of vice chair. Those signify with a yes.
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 Hearing none, we'll move forward with roll call vote.
Okay.
Are we good? Yes. Roll call vote.
Coiner.
Yes.
Kafaver.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Ortiz.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. And Spratt, yes.
Great. Thank you. Michael. Yes, we have unanimous approval for vice chair. Our next position on our slate is for secretary, and Leah Spratt enthusiastically came forward, wishing to continue, wishing to be our secretary. And so, nominations?
I, Jerry Coiner, nominate Leah Spratt to be our secretary.
A second?
I, Mike Schwartz, second that. I do that right? I don't know.
It's been moved and seconded to nominate Leah Spratt for our secretary position. Those with a yes signify
Yes.
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 opposition. Hearing none, nomination of Leah for that position is now in order.
So vote, are we voting?
Can we go ahead and vote?
Okay, Coiner,
Yes.
Kefauver,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Ortiz,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Schurtz,
Yes.
Spratt. Geez, I just don't know. Yes.
It's unanimous. Yes, we're getting better as it goes down the road. Will we have it right for the last one? Our final position for the board is Riverfront Improvement Commission. And Chris Meyer came forward and is very interested in representing us on the commission. So we'd entertain motion to approve.
I, Mike Schwartz, nominate Chris Meyer for the Riverfront Commission.
A second? Okay. Those voting? Yes, a speech. We want a speech, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Those approving the proposed nomination signify with a yes.
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 Opposition? No. We ready for a roll call vote?
Coiner,
Yes.
Kefauver,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Ortiz,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Schurtz,
Yes.
and Spratt. Yes.
Congratulations, board. And we appreciate all the support of everyone, and we'll do our best to keep the thing rolling. It pays to have lots of helpers. Thank you, and we'll move on. We have reports, and the Chad, Betsy, are you going to speak, Chad? Chad is not able to do a verbal report at this time, so I know that Betsy's sitting in for him. So comments?
No, he didn't update me on that. I will tell you, Party in the Park after this meeting at Goose Creek, and our final Party in the Park event next Thursday at Jungie Park. Also, I don't know that it's in the report, Teresa and I will be attending the National Park and Recreation Conference next week in Nashville, Tennessee. And so always look forward to going to those sessions and seeing what's going on around the country. And I find that I walk away energized for two reasons. One, I learn things, and two, I learn that we're kind of on the cutting edge sometimes. So that's always encouraging. So next month, I'm sure in our monthly reports, Teresa and I will hit some highlights for you.
Thank you. When you look at the staff report under recreation, there's a parentheses, Cole will give a quick recap, and that has been moved to our November meeting for your information on the corporate games and how it went. It's, from our reports, it's done very well. Yes, yes, so to be continued maybe as an option. Great. I had a question about, where are the stepping stone schools this year? Do you have those on the tip of your, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot, Teresa, but I'm curious on where they are.
Well, usually it's in every school except for Walcott
Okay.
and Bluegrass, typically. This year, we are really in crisis. I was at a site yesterday. Bill Schneiden, who's like a executive board member, was at a school. Teachers at the schools are coming down just in order for there's a lead time between when there's dismissed and like our high school staff that we've gotten to get on already can get to the sites. And the schools are knowing how important Stepping Stones is to the families that attend their schools. They're coming down and supporting it. But we are having a really dire hiring situation. So we're strategizing on how to address that. But it is really at almost every school. I think that a couple of the title schools, we just didn't have enough. And we're trying to figure out what else we can do. But really, right now, we need more and more people.
Wow. I think that's a challenge all around. I see.
For sure.
Hiring, and, you know, our signs, now we're on the screens by, by the school, Whitmire pool screen, et cetera. We're hiring. So, oh, I,
The list for stepping stones is 350 kids that want to be in there, that we can't meet right now their needs, which attributes to families that have the need and are probably debating between working or sending their kids home, or, you know, so it's pretty much of a crisis.
well, is there anything that we can do? You know,
If you know somebody, tell them to apply. And then it really is, you know, also a nice thing. I was there yesterday at a site, and it actually was a lot of fun. The kids are super duper duper cute.
what is the age for a youth to apply, you know, in regard to, you know, that transition period or those kinds of things?
They can be AIDS and they can be 16.
Okay.
Yeah, they can be 16 and apply.
Okay, thank you. Other components of the staff reports that you might desire? Yes.
I've been pleased to see stuff happening at Tyler Park, but less pleased that it seems like the new playground is going to go in left field of the casual ball diamond. Is going to be rearranged or anything?
So prior to bidding out the Tyler Park Playground, we had a neighborhood meeting. We sent out, at that time, we were pretty full-fledged into COVID, so it was done virtually. The individuals that attended the meeting virtually, as well as responded to our Survey Monkey, were very much in favor of the playground moving down the hill so that it was more visible from the street. That playground up there is highly vandalized because you can't see it. So while it does affect left field a little bit, you know, we'll probably move it a little bit closer to the old basketball court just to give a few more feet. But yeah, that was neighborhood vetted prior to that change.
Yeah, I figured it was just because it really is out of sight of Grand and every other street up there on top of that hill. But I don't know if there's room on top of the hill after the playground's gone to just move the backstop over there or something, but it's hard to say. There's some big trees up there.
Yeah, we certainly can look at it. I'm not opposed to that. We can look at that.
Thank you. I commented on I asked Betsy when everything was going on, have you thought about dropping the playground down where it's more visible? And that was she's verified that was on the slate. And there's barricades around it now, those yellow things. So is that a proposed site from what you just said, or?
Yeah, that is the site that we have prepared. The playground has finally been manufactured after many months of delay. We are now waiting for the playground rep who had a health situation arise in his family. He wants to be on site because it's a pretty impressive playground. I think maybe one of the first ones that he has been involved with, so he wants to be on site when they install it. So we're waiting for him to be ready. I've said this before and I apologize, but I'm hopeful in the next month you will see it.
Great. Other pieces of information that you have questions about? I only have one question, and it kind of relates to a casual comment that Mike made at Jersey Farms. He has a strong interest in the disc golf baskets at Credit Island, and my question and my request would be, is there a way that we could check out how often those are used? His suggestion was, is there a way that maybe there are other parks that we could not buy new equipment, but move things? Has that ever been discussed?
So, as you know, you approved monies to replace the Eastern Avenue disc golf in a cooperative program with a group of individuals that has raised money. That funding has been raised. Those disc baskets will be ordered here as soon as I can get couple of things done. Those 18 baskets will then be able to be available for placement in other locations. I would absolutely not recommend removing credit islands. That is a very active course. I'm not as active as Eastern Avenue. I'm not going to say that because Eastern Avenue is crazy. But Credit Island does have a very loyal following. So we will have 18 baskets once we get the new ones from Eastern Avenue available for reuse.
And he's saying cool. So I thought I heard something about that, but I'm glad that you had that information for us, Betsy. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Anything else, huh? Huh? Yeah, yeah. One last question from me is the winter ice scheduling comment about it being a struggle. I'm more concerned about revenue itself on the ice side, and I don't want to report, a formal report, but, how are we working through that? Are those two comments part of the whole business?
Sure, no problem. The comment was just basically made like this, is about the, just the overall trying to find staff for all the programming. It's just a real scramble and a real hard thing to come by is the employees and good employees that we need for that purpose. So it's being done. It's just, that's just what we decided to put down as a note that is a challenge.
I think that's a true statement all the way around from all staff and the struggles that we've had. That's good. What's going to happen to the public ice schedule? Do you know, is there an implication that it will return, or are we just status quo for a while because of staffing and those kinds of things?
I will assume it'll be similar to what it has been. Like I said, we just put the comment on there that it's a struggle just because we're having to go a lot deeper into banks of candidates, to bring up enough people. I can get back to you on any exact impact that we feel is coming on.
That's personally my interest. So, something I just want to, people are asking about the schedule kinds of things, and I have truly appreciated adult ice skate on Wednesdays, but that's just a special treasure. So it's like, what's going to happen in the future? That's my question. So if you can reflect that would be wonderful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other pieces there? We do have advisory time. We've made great comments in our own advisory time. Is there another other components that you would like to add? Jerry?
Yeah. I know we have an awful lot of problems getting people to work part-time, full-time. And I think one of the issues is basically pay. Here is what I'd like to see done. I've had the conversation with Rick Dunn. We have the CARE Act, all that money. And I honestly think what we should do is look at all of our employees in the park department, the part-time people that are working out there doing all these things and keeping these parks nice. Even though we can't get them a raise right this present moment, but I honestly think that they should have a bonus. And I'd like to put that in so where they could go to city council and get that approved. For the denomination, I can give you a number, but I don't know if you want to hear it.
Jerry, just so you know, there are some very, very specific ways that money can be spent.
I am aware of that.
And I believe most of those funds have been already prioritized by council into their projects.
So I guess I will just add Jerry, thank you. Thank you. And, you know, that will be noted in the minutes. And Chad Director Dyson can bring that up to Administrator Spiegel.
Yeah.
You know, but from a staff perspective, and I know I speak for all of us, we appreciate your support. We appreciate your acknowledgement of the hard work that our staff is doing. You know, so whether that plays out any further than that, do know that is appreciated.
Okay, well, I'm going to push it as far as I can get it. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll try and be quick, but I just wanted to ask about the parks ambassadors that we see around. I still see them around a little bit. With all the talk we just talked about with Credit Island and the issues at Riverview Terrace, I just feel like I hope there's more that we can do just to get eyes, whether it's cameras or whether it's volunteers or whether it's paid employees, eyes on as many of these vandalism targets as possible, because it just seems like we're giving up when we close things and block things off and remove things and remove picnic tables from the Riverfront, you know, shelter and close off things. And it's a city issue beyond just the Parks Department, but I think there's got to be a better way than just saying we can't handle this. We can't figure out how to keep this open.
So again, you know, I appreciate those comments. Do know that Riverview Terrace, I always want to say River Heritage, that's a different park. That situation is temporary. That is not a permanent solution at this point. The neighbors and the aldermen, as well as the chief of police and the Parks Department, are continuing to look at that park. That park needed some drastic action, for lack of a better word, and closing it off was pretty drastic. It got some people's attention. It did solve the problem. Now, whether it just moved the problem somewhere else, that's yet to be determined. But that is a temporary measure. That is not a permanent one at this time. We do have an ambassador program, and this time we have one ambassador that works 12:30 to 8:30, 5 days a week. The challenge with that, obviously, is they have no legal enforcement ability. So while they are eyes and ears on the road for us, and it's very much appreciated, they send me a report every night when they're done. Hey, this is what I've noticed, blah, blah, blah. They don't have any legal recourse. So they do reporting in directly to the police department if they do see something, and then the police can respond, you know, as needed. So it is a challenge, and I agree, Mr. Meyer, I don't want to close parks. I absolutely don't want to close parks. We just need to be real creative and, you know, as we move forward.
Is that's a paid position?
It is a paid position.
Is there room for something like the VIPs that the police have for the parks?
That, you know, that is an interesting concept. I do know the VIPs program took years to develop. Teresa and my and Troy's dream for years and years has been to somehow develop a substantial volunteer program. And if we ever have some extra time, we'll probably, you know, delve into that a little bit more. I know that we are looking into getting a grad assistant, hopefully next semester, and that would be a portion of that person's position to look at other successful volunteer, you know, programs that are out there, whether they're, you know, in Cedarville, Ohio, they have a great one. You know, are even looking at Davenport Police. How did they start their VIPS program? How, you know, so that definitely is on our radar. And as we work towards that, you know, we'll be relying on you guys to help us get that word out and recruit.
Other comments? It looks like I'm looking at the clock and we are near a conclusion. I'm seeing people going, and who else is going to do the park tonight? Get your hot dog soon. Entertain a motion to adjourn if you're comfortable with that and have no other comments.
I move to adjourn.
Second? Yes. Those green, say yay.
Yes.
Aye.
I see people all pushing their buttons, so that all went to yay, so we'll conclude today. Yes, 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 yes. So thank you again for being here, and we will proceed and see you on October 21st. Yeah, at 4:30.
All right, sounds
Yes. Bring your Halloween masks.